Let's continue exploring the universe within art and the art behind Redstone. I'm your host, OmLedu. I've been talking a lot about random number generators recently, just built the Yahtzee minigame that uses it, and we went over all of the different ways that you can make random number generators. But in that guide, we talked about the mechanics, but we didn't go over any build tutorials. So in this video, I want to build this 4-way randomizer for Bedrock. In Bedrock only, if you trigger multiple pistons at the same time, that would then prevent the other ones from activating, the one who actually gets the activation is random. Now I absolutely love this mechanic. It never gets in the way of piston doors or anything like that. All it does is it adds the ability to create easy random number generators using pistons. Like here, we have a redstone block that is activating the output, and so every time you push the button, it has a 50% chance of changing or staying the same. Or if we use repeaters instead of a redstone block, you will get a pulse output that has a 50% chance to be a 1 or a 2. And the best thing about this is that the odds of each piston activating is the same, so you can stack these on top of each other and get a 4-way randomizer that has a 25% chance of each output activating. So essentially, this is the exact same thing as a 4-sided dice, and we're going to go over how to build it and talk about what you can do with it right now. The first thing to mention is that you can have any sort of input that you desire. You can use a button or a lever, or even have some alternative activations that we will talk about right after we finish building it. But we're going to start off by placing 2 repeaters on a 2-tick delay, and then 7 dust that is connecting those repeaters together and pointed into the blocks that is diagonally in front of those repeaters, because we're going to place pistons on top of those 2 blocks with 2 more blocks in between those pistons. Then we're going to go around to the back and place a redstone dust on either side of the center block, then place glass next to and on top of each of those dust. Then 4 solid blocks next to the piston and glass, 1 solid block in front of the glass, and then do the same thing on both sides. Now we're going to place dust on top of all of these blocks except for the piston and the block next to that. So 6 dust on each side. Then we're going to place 2 repeaters in the middle here, each on a 2-tick delay. So poke each of these repeaters 1 time to set it to a 2-tick delay. Now grab your pistons. We're going to place a piston next to that top block, and then a piston coming out of that dust on the other side, facing each other like so. And then do the same thing on both sides. Then place a single solid block in between each set of pistons. Now we're going to place a glass block on top of this hole on both sides, then a solid block next to that glass. Then turn around and place repeaters on top of the glass and dust on top of the solid blocks. And you're done. So your 4 different outputs are the repeaters and dust here in the front. Anytime you activate it, one of those 4 will receive a redstone signal. So if you use a button, it will have a signal that is a pulse, or if you use a lever, it will have a signal that is a static on. And depending on what you're trying to activate with this, you could always split the outputs by using repeaters or elevation, or you could just do something like this, with a repeater next to this piston so that the piston doesn't activate, and now you have 4 distinct outputs that aren't going to interact with each other. Like now, you can easily run the redstone wherever you're trying to make it go without worrying about the dust connecting. How you use this is totally up to your imagination. In the past, I've used it for archery minigames, where you have 4 different targets that are covered up by trapdoors, so the randomizer would open one of the 4 trapdoors, allowing you to shoot the target. But to actually get that minigame idea to work brings us to our next talking point, and that is it's nice to play around with RS latches at the end of these outputs for this randomizer. And so an RS latch has a set and a reset. It's basically just 2 pistons holding a redstone block. And so we can connect the outputs to the topmost piston. And so now, when it activates, it will have a static on rather than a pulse, even if you're using a button. And then we can even connect the input to the bottom pistons. So now the input is resetting the outputs, and then the output will be a static on. So basically, if we build this on all 4 of the outputs, it will give us more control over the behavior of the machine. A lot of times I find myself building it this way for custom games and stuff like that. So now when we activate the input, that's when it resets the outputs, and then we get one of the 4 to randomly activate and stay on. And so if we add some lamps just to give us like a visual display of what's going on, we can see that when we press the button to activate the input, all of them will turn off, and then one of them will end up turning on, and then staying on until we activate it yet again. So for something like an archery minigame, you can have all of the RS latches toggling trapdoors, to where the trapdoors are covering up the target block, preventing them from being shot. But then whenever the randomizer is active, it will open one of the trapdoors. So that target block will be the only one that's revealed, so the only one that you can shoot. And since target blocks emit a redstone signal when they're shot, you can connect them to the input. So when you shoot the target block that's revealed, it will then activate the randomizer, which will then close all of the targets and then reveal one of the targets. So it's like an infinite 4-way randomizer archery minigame. And I actually have a tutorial for this in one of my other videos that I will link here on the screen and in the video description if you want to see an example of that. And if you don't need the RS Latch's ability to customize when it resets, you can just use a lever to give you a static on or off. As long as the lever is turned on, one of the 4 outputs will turn on and stay on until you turn the lever off. So just know that no matter what you're trying to accomplish, there is always a way to get it done. Randomizers can really open up a whole new world of custom redstone, and this design is one of my favorites, especially because again, all 4 of the outputs have the same percentage chance of activating each time. But that's all we got for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, share, and subscribe, and be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you did or didn't like about the video, or if you have any questions or requests, I will do my best to help you out. And if you don't know what to say, just tell me hi. I would love to hear from you. It is because of your support that I can continue making these videos, so I really hope that you enjoy them and that you gain something from them. Just know that you are super important and that you make me really happy. A big shout out to all of my supporters and subscribers, and to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. But until then, I've been your host, OmLedu, sharing a redstone trick or two, and reminding you, as always, don't forget to have fun. Bye-bye!